Okay, great. Thank you very much for being here, Denise. For everyone listening, my name is David Zappizzotti. I am the founder of Brain Flip Weight Loss. At Brain Flip Weight Loss, we help people to reprogram their brain to become free of all food and body weight struggles where they release the cravings, the overeating issues, they drop the weight and they keep it off for good. And they do it without any form of like resisting cravings or restricting portions or working themselves to death. Like, it's actually counterintuitive. They lose the weight as they focus less on it in this program. I am very excited today to have Denise with me here. Denise is one of my advanced clients in my program. And I'd like to talk with her a little bit today and have her share some of her story with you around how she became free of like food struggles in ways that she never imagined could happen, right? Before you went through that experience, right?
Yep.
And we don't weigh in our program throughout. We just weigh at the end when we think we're at our goal. But she has an idea of the amount of weight she's lost based on not focusing on it and doing things to reprogram for lightness instead. So, Denise, I'd like to welcome you. Thank you for being here. As we go through, I just want to ask you a few questions just for the audience listening to really understand who you are, the kinds of challenges you had. So let's get into the nitty-gritty details. So first off, how old are you?
58.
58 years old. And how tall are you?
5'3".
5'3". Okay, so 58, 5'3". And then when you first joined Brain Flip Weight Loss, do you remember what your starting weight was?
190.
190. Okay, and then what did we decide was the goal weight for you?
My goal is 110.
110. Okay, so we're looking at an 80-pound weight loss, right? Okay. Now, for everyone listening, in the Brain Flip Weight Loss program, we go through 3 different phases. The first phase, we're flipping all junk food cravings. In the second phase, we're flipping overeating and snacking, things like that. And then in the third phase is where weight loss happens. So let's talk about the first phase in the beginning, craving. So when you first joined this program, what kind of cravings were you having for unhealthy foods? Like, how big of a flip was that first flip for you?
I was very much a person who liked the salty, crunchy stuff. So like potato chips. If I did have candy bars or anything, I wanted peanuts in there with it.
Okay, got it.
I drank Diet Coke all the time.
Okay. Do you know about how much, like, was that a daily thing, the Diet Coke? About how much was it, would you say, if you had to kind of ballpark
I
it?
probably had 4 cans.
4 cans a day.
Uh-huh.
Wow, of diet soda.
Yes.
Okay. For those of you listening, diet soda is like one of the worst things you can put into your body. All right. So just so you're aware, she was drinking 4 cans a day. Did not know that. Or at least if I did, I don't remember it. It was a while ago, right? How long have you been working with me now?
Like about 10 months. I started back in October.
10 months. Okay. So it's been coming up a few months from a year. Lots changed in that time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were drinking 4 cans of diet soda a day. You would snack on potato chips, chocolate with nuts if it was there. Any kind of baked goods like cookies, cakes, brownies, pastries, anything like that?
I mean, typically not.
Like if it was around,
if it was there,
right.
I would eat it, but it wasn't something I would seek out.
Right. That wasn't. What were your 3 biggest buy-in foods other than soda, other than diet soda?
Like I said, salty.
Oh, so chips, potato chips, like potato
pretzels.
Chips. Pretzels. Okay.
Peanuts.
Okay. Trail mix, any of that kind of stuff?
Yep, that would be something I would go for.
Did you eat cereal at all?
No.
No. Okay, so just more in the form of trail mix. Okay, great. So, and then I know that the soda you were indulging every day, but the other stuff, like whether it was chips or chocolate or whatever, right? How often were you indulging at that time when you first joined this program?
Oh, every day.
All right, so you were daily indulging. how out of control did you feel before you went through this process? Like, were you pretty defeated? Were you more just like frustrated and trying to figure out where was your kind of headspace when you first started?
Um, I have done other weight loss programs. And so I had just kind of several months been working with another program. And I was just tired of it. I was tired of counting everything. And I've done it before and it would work for a while, but then it wasn't something I could sustain.
Okay, so you were kind of in an exhaustion stage.
Yes, very much so.
For everyone listening, I see the whole weight loss trajectory as like a kind of emotional range of emotions that people have. The first one's usually frustration. People get very frustrated when they're gaining weight and they don't want to, and then they're trying this diet and that thing over there and this thing over there. And that frustration eventually leads into exhaustion, where it's like, I'm so tired of even trying. Like, people that are in exhaustion, it's very common for them to say things like, I don't even want to think about weight loss. I don't want to talk about, like, I don't want anything to do with it, right? And then the next stage after that is actually resignation. So it goes from frustration to exhaustion to resignation, where people give up. And it's like, a person that's really resigned won't ever see this video until they are not anymore. So Denise, you were kind of in an exhaustion phase. What kind of suffering was daily indulging doing in your life? Was it creating stress? What were you beating yourself up? What were the kind of symptoms you were experiencing of being out of control with? Because I know you wanted to not eat junk food every day, right? Right. So what was that doing to you that you weren't able to do that? Like, what was that out of control feeling for you?
I think it was, frustration. Like you said, you kind of beat yourself up because you're like, I know what I'm supposed to do. I've read enough about it, but for whatever reason, I'm not able to do it.
Right. Okay. So now you start on the first brain flip. For everyone listening, we're reprogramming the brain to no longer have addictions to junk foods or processed foods or fast foods anymore. It's completely, you could go into a room full of junk food, everyone else eating it, and it's like you're surrounded by celery. There's no attachment whatsoever at the end. I know that people are going to hear that and be like, that's crazy, but that's actually what happens. So when that happened for you, like when you got to that point where you're like, I know what it is now. Like, I got control. You weren't having the cravings anymore. How long did that flip take for you? Do you have a remembrance? Was it a week or two or more?
I would say a week and a half to 2 weeks tops.
A week and a half to 2 weeks. Okay. So for everyone listening, the average is 2 to 3 weeks. So it was a little bit on the low end side of the average.
And I want to throw in there too, is like, along with my Diet Coke and all that other stuff, I was one of those people who had a glass of wine to unwind at night and everything. And
was that daily as well? Or 4 times a week?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah. So that was something else I got under control and don't crave that anymore at all either.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
Because a lot of people that go through this and flip alcohol, what happens is many of them don't think it's an issue in their life. And like, a lot of times it's not like, they're not like an addict where they have to do it. It's not like that kind of thing, right? But there could be, a lot of times as people go through and they flip alcohol on the first brain flip along with the foods, what happens is that they realize that it was a bigger issue than they thought it was. Not that they would necessarily say they were an alcoholic, not like that, not in that way of a label, but just like realizing the reliance that was on it, that what they weren't aware of before. Did that happen with you? Is that kind of your?
Yeah, because I think just when I was extremely stressed out from work and everything, that was just my way to unwind.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So you flipped all that stuff in about a week and a half to 2 weeks, right? So at the end of that, what was that like for you? Like, you have been chained to these things for so long, right? And as you go through the flip, you then realize it doesn't matter how long it's been. It makes no difference. People could flip. They've been there for a couple of years or a few decades. Doesn't matter. Still flips in about 2 to 3 weeks. What was that freedom like for you? Just kind of describe that to the audience as best you can.
It was just a relief. I didn't have to think about it. It wasn't something, because before you're constantly battling, I really want that, but I shouldn't have it. So it's that whole
Right.
thing going on in your head. It's not there anymore.
Right. Okay. All right. So awesome. So you have this complete freedom. Was it shocking for you, like that it happened the way it did, or how fast it happened? Anything
Yeah,
about it
I was
really?
surprised.
Yeah. Was it weird for you to like go down an aisle in the grocery store and not have fear?
Well, yeah, I mean, even today,
Yeah.
I
Still feels strange.
I don't want to say strange, but it's like every now and then it'll just hit me. It's like I'm sitting here and everybody else is eating their pizza or whatever, and I'm over here eating my salad, and I'm quite happy with that. I'm not feeling deprived.
Right. It's amazing when you just remove the desire,
Yeah.
how it changes everything. Okay, so you become free of all junk food cravings, right? So next is the overeating flip. Now, remind me, Denise, did you have overeating issues? Like, were you eating? Well, let me ask you this. At the end of the flip, how much less were you eating than before you started with healthy foods? For everyone listening, in the second flip, we're overeating. We're flipping overeating and snacking. But what we do in that flip, the way that we flip overeating isn't by having a person eat more until they feel sick of it. That's not what we do. What you do is you eat the same amount that you actually would normally eat, but we actually reprogram that amount to feel bigger and bigger until it feels repulsive, until it's really exciting to eat less food. And that's the exact opposite of what people mostly experience. Most people go into a weight loss program, they're told to eat less food and they feel miserable. In this flip, as weird as this might sound, it makes you feel miserable until you eat less food, which is a very freeing experience. We're not just reprogramming overeating itself, we're reprogramming the unhealthy associations that were formed in previous weight loss attempts where you were equating eating less to misery, right? So, Denise, about how much less were you eating at the end than you were in the beginning? Most people, it's like a half to a third. That's the average. Do you remember? Do you have any idea?
Probably about three-quarters. So, like, I probably got rid of one-quarter of what I was eating before.
Okay, so you went down to like 75% of what you were
Yeah.
eating before. Did you feel like you had overeating issues before you started that flip?
Not at meals.
Okay. So it was more just unhealthy snacking outside of meals was the real
Yes.
issue. Okay.
Yes.
So this one, it was only down to 75%. But even that, like dropping down to 75% of what you were eating before, that's like three-quarters of what you were eating before.
Right.
That's a pretty significant drop for someone who didn't feel like she had overeating issues at meals, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Was there any kind of big um, realizations or big transformations that happened in that flip? Was it as big as the first one? Was it more mild for you?
It was probably more mild for me.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it was kind of like, oh, okay, well,
Like
instead of
what do you think you got out of it?
um, I think for me it was just because I was very much that person from doing all the diet things that I measured everything out. This is
Got
what
it.
the serving says, this is what I get.
Yeah.
So I think learning from that, well, I don't necessarily need that serving size.
Right. Yeah.
So
Cool.
that's probably where that quarter came off.
Got it. Okay. So it's just a letting go of attachment and awesome. So, okay. So, and that happened in about how much time before we dropped the extra portion?
Less than 2 weeks.
Less than 2 weeks. Okay. So you flipped overeating and snacking, even though they weren't the primary thing, they were. I mean, once you flipped the snacking with the unhealthy foods, by the time you got to the second flip, you weren't really doing the same snacking that you were before.
Right.
Because that already flipped in the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't as big of a thing, but it's still 75% a good transition. Now, 80 pounds weight loss, right? So that's what we were looking at in the beginning. Now, for everyone listening, we don't weigh in this program through the journey. We weigh in the beginning to get a baseline weight, then we weigh at the end when when you think you're where you want to be. Like when you think you're at your goal weight, that's when we actually do it. There's nothing in between because believe it or not, to weigh yourself is to create a heavy self-identity. And so part of the reason that we let go of weighing ourselves is to let go of that. It's also about letting go of extrinsic motivators and things like that to be able to be more centered and empowered within ourselves. The person that weighs to see if they're losing weight is the person that's heavy. And so I don't want people to keep doing that and reinforcing that as I'm helping them to build a light identity, which is what we're doing in the third phase. So Denise, just tell us a little bit about your journey of where you're at now. So if I recall correctly, I asked you the other day around what you thought you lost. I think you said you think right now it's around 45 pounds. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And how are you gauging that? I know you're not weighing yourself. So is it clothing sizes? Have you had to replace some sizes or so? Okay.
Yeah.
About how many sizes? Do you have an idea about how many it's been?
So like when I started, I was probably wearing like an 18 and now I'm like a 10 or a 12, depending on.
That's a pretty big jump. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and that makes sense because you're a little bit more than halfway to your goal of 80 pounds. All right.
Yeah.
For everyone listening, I like to actually interview people while they're going through the process rather than when they graduate. Although Denise, I'll probably want you to do another one once you graduate as well. That would be nice. So let me ask you this. So you've lost an estimated 9, 10 dress sizes and about 45 pounds. And you've done all of that without in any way focusing on losing weight, right?
Yep.
Is that weird for you to have done that? When you hear me say that the more we focus on weight loss during the act of losing weight, the more unstable weight loss becomes. When you hear that, does that still sound weird to you or does it make total sense?
Now it makes total sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
At the time, yeah, it was weird. But now it makes sense.
It's very difficult to appreciate how powerful the psychological identity that we create around heaviness, how much that influences us staying heavy. And so Denise is actually going through a process of focusing on weight loss less and less. And the more she does that, the more and more progress she makes. Denise, what is it like for you to have lost this weight without focusing on it? Without in any way, I know I just asked you that, but emotionally, is it disturbing or is it exciting or is it just kind of discombobulating for that it's actually this way?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's enjoyable.
Yeah.
I've been surprised at how easy it's been.
Right.
And normally that's not how that goes.
And it actually has to be easy in order for it to occur, right? That's the tricky thing about it. Yeah. Awesome. Are there any big in the third phase that we're in right now with the weight loss section? You've been in there for a while now. And you've gone through all of the different flips that we do in this phase. Is there anything that's a standout moment for you, a standout thing that has really changed in your life? Even if it's just noticing these sizes dropping away and being excited about it, doesn't have to be anything earth shattering. I'm just curious, is there anything that really is meaningful for you that you've experienced so far in this phase as you've lost 45 pounds, about 9 or 10 dress sizes without focusing on it?
Just everything is easier.
Yeah.
It's just, movement things are easier, sitting is easier, figuring out what's, I'm going to eat. Everything is easier.
Yeah. Awesome. So it's really more peace of mind is what I'm hearing from you.
Very much so.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, this is definitely a journey of more and more peace of mind. Thank you so much for being on it with me. Is there anything that you'd like to share with everyone as we're closing out here and leading them to where they can go next?
Just that, a lot of what I've done with you, the whole thing of getting your brain turned around so that it's making things easier has been the hugest impact. A lot of, like I said, I've done all kinds of things, read all the rules, thought I knew what to do. And that seemed to be the piece that was missing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. And fitting in that piece brought more peace.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Awesome. Well, everyone listening, thank you so much for being here. Denise, thank you so much for being on this journey with me. I always enjoy working with you anytime you're on the coaching.